2008 Capcom. Even this game treats the logo like the trash it was back then. Devil May Cry 4 came from the era when Japanese devs were desperate to appeal to new audiences because Japanese players were obsessed with mobile games. In the attempt to make their games more appealing to Westerners, many franchises were gutted, rebooted, or saw popular main characters switch for new ones. This approach pretty much ended with failure every time, as characters like Dante were already appealing to people in the West. So of course they dropped him as the lead in favor of Nero, who looks just like Dante, fights just like Dante, steals clothes from Dante's wardrobe, and has a name tied to the darker history of Christianity just like Dante. Nero doesn't even alert anyone in the church that he had to clear a path just to get here. He still missed your entire performance. Why do you look so happy? That's bad boyfriend material. This city is full of Assassin's Creed main characters in waiting from the looks of these churchgoers.
2,000 years ago, the Dark Knight, Sparta, turned against his demon brethren and took up his sword for the sake of mankind.
I was about to send this Pope-looking dude for starting his sermon off with exposition, but then I remembered that's actually what church sermons are all about. So instead, I'll send the game for casting Liam O'Brien to play Sanctus. You pretty much give away the fact that a character is the main villain when I hear his voice behind him. Kyrie is Nero's girlfriend. The game doesn't spend much time on their relationship other than this one moment before she vanishes for the rest of the game. I think the majority of their lines were just screaming their names at each other. Nero hides his demon arm inside that arm sling, yet his girlfriend, nor anyone else, has ever asked why he has a perpetually broken arm. Well, Dante just killed an innocent religious leader and has blood splattered all over him. I wonder if he's turned villain. Bet you were just dying to know the truth. Well, you'll just have to keep playing the game to find. Got it. The old guy was evil and Dante was just trying to take him out. You know, my Heart of Ice may beat slower than most, but it still only took one of them to piece this intricately laid plot together.
I won't hold my breath.
Dante has always been a nerd's idea of what an impossibly cool person is. Nero, on the other hand, is what an insufferable cunt believes himself to already be. Dante is showing remarkable one-liner restraint in this situation where the developers need to portray him as a possible villain. A double-barreled revolver has to be the dumbest weapon ever in the history of outlandish weapons. You can only fire it 3 times before needing to reload. That crotch attack looks full of openings. And stupid. This will be the only time in the game Nero has to reload despite the inefficient design of his gun. In fact, this may be the only time in the series' history that a character has been shown reloading a weapon.
So, you're looking to play, huh? Alright, I guess I got some time to kill.
You were here on important saving the world business. Yet you were allowing yourself to be distracted by a kid you don't even know instead of ensuring Sanctus stays dead.
We're the same. You and...
We're the same, you and I, cliché. This is one of the few times I could be convinced that the statement is truthful. Nero could be an alternate outfit for Dante. Yeah, I'm sure none of the order guards will see you hide your demon arm by turning sideways, or see it sticking out of your sleeve later.
Run!
After screaming their names at each other a few times, these two lovebirds went out part ways for pretty much the rest of the game. But we'll expect us to care when the time comes because Nero gave her a necklace. It looks cool, but it makes me feel stupid to even think about how that works. I hope you enjoyed that bit of plot, because there is very little of it to be found in the next few hours of gameplay. It's all boss fight introductions until Nero gets to the castle. I've stepped in gas station puddles that have more depth and character than this plot. This works. These monoliths are hellgates, and they are scattered all around the city. Yet Nero doesn't destroy them even after seeing demons popping out of them. He doesn't even kill the demon.
You are just like he was.
And he would be?
Even hell demons like playing the pronoun game. How do you even get into that position? She can't have grabbed the doll with her legs from behind and then jumped off the tower. It's almost like Capcom decided that after turning down publishing Bayonetta, they would stick a character that apes her style in the new DMC game before Bayonetta could launch. Fighting in heels is one thing. Fighting in heels while standing on great flooring is another level of impossible. Good old 2008 boob jiggle. Creating the most ungodly breast movements and turning a generation of teenagers into ass men.
Gloria.
Nero has all the personality of a car battery. There are only 2 reasons that will make a woman put in the effort to act this sexy all the time. Either she's being paid to, or she's trying to get someone's attention. Neither reason is in play here, so she's putting in a whole lot of effort for no payoff. Well, that's an angle that doesn't leave much to the imagination. So this is where Nintendo got the idea for Splatoon. The old man Sanctus is the villain, but Nero doesn't know that yet. All he knows is that he's the leader of the Order religion and was killed earlier today. Nero is literally disrespecting a dead man. Look at the board game puzzle they let the intern design. They must have been so proud. No explanation will be given for why Virgil's katana is here, unless that was explained in the DLC, and I don't really care if it was.
I had to capture and control countless demons to harness their souls. Summoning them alone was almost an insurmountable task.
Agnes explains all of his evil plans to Nero and therefore us, and I swear I could not care less about the logistics of creating demon soldiers. When magic exists in your universe, you don't need long explanations. Just say magic. You need him alive. You should really stop stabbing him.
Gideon, run! Gideon!
This game is really struggling to make Kyrie and Nero something we should care about. It puts zero effort into developing their relationship, but them screaming enough at each other in a memory is enough to awaken Nero's devil trigger. I guess that was the most significant thing that has ever happened to them. It was night a minute ago when Nero entered this waterfall cave. Once out the other side, it's midday. Sup? Just thought I would check in and remind you of how much better this game could have been had I been the main character. Later.
That arrogant kid possesses demonic power! He resurrected Yamato!
You kind of lucked out with that, since you need Yamato to open the main Hellgate in the city. So much of this plan seemed to rely on Nero doing everything you needed him to do on pure chance. What exactly would be happening right now had Dante not shown up and tried to assassinate Sanctus? Was the Order just waiting for that before they commenced? I'm surprised they gave Gloria a chair to sit in. With the way she acts, I figured her resting position was grinding on a stripper pole.
Is she reliable?
She once brought us the sword Sparta, and hastened the completion of our savior.
I need to point out that Gloria is actually Triss in disguise, and to gain their trust, she handed over the Sword of Sparta, which helped the Order complete the Savior, and her position in the Order doesn't seem to benefit Dante at all, since she ditches this disguise soon after, and as far as I can tell, did nothing during her time with the Order to help Dante retrieve Yamato. Once again, Nero doesn't destroy the Hellgate that the demons are pouring out of.
And who the hell is Dante?
You seriously don't know who the son of Sparta is? The guy this city worships? That's like living in the Vatican and not knowing who Jesus is.
You possess the power of a demon.
What of it? So do you. You transform into one to fight Nero. Oh, it's, her. That girl. And she saw Nero's demon hand and was shocked to learn he's part demon. I guess these two haven't taken their relationship very far. This is our first time seeing it.
If you want her, then come and get her.
He was headed there anyways. You didn't really need to kidnap his girlfriend to convince him.
Nero, we must set aside this battle until I find out the truth of this.
Considering you can fly and you headed towards where Agnes flew off with Kyrie, I would assume you would arrive at the tower in minutes, yet Nero will reach it well before you.
I think it's time to put you out of your misery.
Nero fails to kill just about every boss he fights in this game. Man, I wish Nero could parry like that when I'm in control of him. In-game, all he can do is dodge. You can't spell cool badass without screaming childish tantrum.
You. What are you doing here?
You were chasing Dante in this direction the entire time. Of course he's going to be here.
That's how you think you blush a pretty pig when I kick your ass.
Nero is reaching talkative porn cameraman levels of annoying.
That sword was used to separate our world from the demons. I can't have something of that kind of power floating around now, can I?
I need this.
Then keep it.
Well, you put up a strong argument, kid. I guess I'll have to let you keep the sword that can end the world.
What's your name?
Nero. You're Dante, right? Not a bad name.
Neither is yours.
It's almost like we were both named after a theme, but not one that much thought was put into. I know I just made a joke about porn cameramen, but I think one was hired to direct the cutscenes in this game given all the ass and cleavage shots.
That regal look suits you.
Dante would be great at sending stupid outfits, though I would hardly call that regal. That magical curtain Triss pulled out of the ground to swap clothing behind, that was actually more material than she was wearing.
Well, if the kid screws up, then I'll just have to kick his ass.
Spoiler, he screws up.
Is it not your wish to become one with her?
Now that you've asked that, I'm actually really curious on how Nero expected this relationship to work if he never planned to show Kyrie his demon arm.
Within the Savior, your mortal bodies will combine, melting into one to manifest and create his core.
So Sanctus plans to bring this god statue to life by merging Kyrie and Nero inside of it. I'm surprised Platinum never sued. It's almost like they had advanced knowledge of the Bayonetta script.
A thing of utter and pure beauty.
Go blow yourself.
This is why I hate Nero. Lines as stupid require Dante's sass for a proper response. Nero just gets angry.
I had originally intended to absorb him into our savior. But circumstance presenting, I'd rather choose the option at hand.
You mean you could have gone through with this plan to create a god statue anytime you wanted, but held out in hopes of absorbing Dante, and then in the end went with Nero and his girlfriend and it works just as well?
No! Run!
And they didn't bother animating Kratos' mouth for that line.
So melodramatic. Besides, if you die without giving my sword back, I'm gonna be pissed.
Then come and get it.
Devil May Cry 5 has so much work cut out for it if it wants to make this unlikable douche the main character again. I'm going to challenge myself to send Nero and Kyrie's relationship using the same amount of words they've shared between each other. Here we go. Develop your characters before you put them inside an anime void of inner reflection if you want me to care.
I'll sweep the city and evacuate the people.
Really? All by yourself? That seems like a big job for one person. The Order's plan was to unleash demons from the Hellgates they created, then use a savior to destroy them in hopes of spreading this religion further to control the world. But why start in the city of Fortuna, a city that already follows the religion? You are literally preaching to the choir. What cruel twist of fate has left this world without the invention of underwire support?
But the real problem is the Order. Lately they've been running amok, catching demons, and have even butted in on some of my jobs.
Maybe they're starting a zoo.
Not just demons. They've also been targeting devil arms, like the ones you have.
Had you three not gotten involved, none of this would have mattered. The Order couldn't complete the Savior without the Sword of Sparta, and they couldn't open the Hellgate without Yamato. You gave them Sparta to get inside, and while they had Yamato, it was broken until Nero came along and fixed it. And that only happened because he was chasing after you. And from the sound of Lady's report, the Order wasn't really doing anything wrong, just looking for devil arms. Apparently that was enough to convince Dante to head there and assassinate Sanctum. So all of this is your fault. After hours of Nero, you finally get to control Dante. This is definitely an improvement. The only issue is that Dante's section has you backtracking through every level and fighting every boss Nero failed to kill while destroying the Hellgates he neglected to destroy. The second half of this game is just the first half in reverse. You mean to tell me that Nero could have just done that, instead of playing that stupid board game to progress?
You summon and kill. Summon and kill. I fail to see the logic here. Senate. The price to pay for power?
It was really nice of Agnes to not only play along with Dante here, but to be the one who started the Shakespeare bit and set up the lighting for it.
It takes a journey to hell for them to accept and praise their god.
Agnes has had a stuttering problem the entire game. What happened to that now that he's doing a performance?
How can there be such a difference between us?
It might have something to do with him being the son of the person you worship.
If you're gonna continue your research in the next world,
No.
do your homework first.
Performing research is all about learning something you don't understand. Homework and research are the exact same thing.
I think you better help the others. Try to get them as far away from here as possible.
What others? I thought she was evacuating the city the entire time by herself. I understand the appeal of big scale equals big action, but if the design is clunky, and this fight is clunky, the entire moment falls apart.
Time to wake up, kid! You're missing out on all the fun!
No, I'd rather not share any of it with him. Let Nero stay where he is. Why does Nero have to do the board game again when Dante already showed you can bypass it by cutting the dice in half? Think about that for a second, game developers. This makes the third time I've had to fight all these bosses. Why do people consider DMC to be the worst game in the series? I think this game is by far the laziest. Even the final boss of this game is just a repeat of a previous boss fight with a few added moves.
This is where it started. And this is where it'll land.
It all ends where it began cliché. In this case, I think it's because they rushed the game out early and didn't have time to create a unique final section, rather than some meaningful metaphor.
Wait for me.
That's all she has done the entire game. In fact, it appears she has regressed. She can't even say your name out loud anymore. Okay, now I know they were just trying to beat Bayonetta to market. Make that hand out of hair and it's the same thing.
Hey, Dante. Will we meet again?
In about a decade, sure. I don't see why not. I only sent this game because Devil May Cry 5 was announced and I realized I knew nothing about Nero except that he was Virgil's son. Turns out that was all I needed to know, and that fact was never revealed in-game. That was confirmed by devs later in interviews. I could have gone into Devil May Cry 5 blind and been just fine.
Go blow yourself.